Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a 12-team PPR mock draft on YahooFantasy.com. I hope that inside of this video, you guys can gain a bunch of knowledge about my feeling throughout 2021 fantasy football drafts. Last time, we did a 14-team draft, so this time, we're switching it up and doing a 12-team draft. I believe down below in the comments, someone requested a 12-team mock draft from the 12th overall spot, so if you guys have any suggestions, I will be doing basically every single slot as we get onto the offseason, because in August, every single day, I do a mock draft as well as a normal video, so you guys will be getting mocks from every single spot. But if you have any suggestions, let me know down below. I know a super flex or 2-quarterback draft is going to be coming up real soon because people have requested it. So if you guys do end up enjoying this video at any point and having a great time, please make sure that you do end up hitting that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2021 Fantasy Football Championship. So without further ado, let's get into it since the draft already started. So the draft starts with Christian McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook. Pretty typical 1-2 punch there to start off the draft. To me, that is my 1-2. Those are who I would pick at the number 1 and the number 2 overall spot, so I don't really have too much to say about that. Christian McCaffrey, when he's healthy, is just such an upper echelon player in the NFL for fantasy football because his receiving ability is just so high, even in standard leagues where you don't even get points for the fact that this guy may end up catching 100 balls next season. You don't get extra points for that, but it doesn't matter because the receiving yards are just so much, and just getting the ball in his hand as much as he does, or hands as much as he does, is just excellent for fantasy football. After Dalvin Cook comes Derrick Henry, nothing out of the ordinary there. So we are at pick number 12, and if I'm being completely honest with you, this is my single favorite spot to be drafting for fantasy football basically every year. Every single year, I've talked about this, that I've been making videos, that I love drafting at the end of the draft because I like to control the draft. I'm drafting right there, so if I draft 2 running backs later, then that dictates the draft. If I draft a quarterback, then someone might panic, and they may draft a quarterback. Now, I'm not going to draft a quarterback in the first round, but later on in the draft, I just like being able to select my 2 players, back-to-back Michael Jordan 96, 97. I feel very secure at this spot. I honestly don't understand, or I do understand why I like drafting there, but I don't know how to necessarily put it into words. It's just basically the fact that I like going back-to-back, and I like to be able to manipulate the draft to my liking. Obviously, I can't change these motherfuckers' picks, but I can kind of change maybe how they're thinking if I shift my draft one way, and I'm able to really just control what I want here. Getting 2 picks back-to-back, that's really just why I like it. So enough rambling on that. After Derrick Henry came Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, and Tyreek Hill. It seems as though Davante Adams has been swept under the fucking rug for Tyreek Hill as the number 1 wide receiver. Very interesting, because if I'm being honest with you, if I was to take someone not named Davante Adams as the first wide receiver, I would be taking Stephon Diggs because of how good this Buffalo Bills offense looked last season with Stephon Diggs. This dude was putting up amazing numbers. They have been projected to get less yards this year, which to me is a little bit crazy considering they're adding another game, but they do have been projected to get an extra touchdown. I'm not too sure about that. I think that Stephon Diggs is going to be probably one of the best wide receivers in the NFL and is very safe going into this season. After Tyreek came Ezekiel Elliott, Stephon Diggs, and Travis Kelce. So now we're back up here on the 1-2 turn, which is exactly what I like to do. Now, if we were in like a best ball draft here, I'm looking to get the Green Bay stack, but that's not what we're doing here. We're drafting for a redraft league, and here I am going to be selecting Aaron Jones. I talked about Aaron Jones in yesterday's video, just about how much I like Aaron Jones and how at the end of the first round, early second round, I feel like he has the potential to be a top 5 running back yet again in 2021, so I'm really confident in him. And we're going to go 2 running backs, back-to-back Michael Jordan 96, 97 here, because I don't want to go with the Green Bay stack in case, you know, Rodgers just doesn't decide to play. So we're going to go with Austin Eckler here at this pick. I believe that Austin Eckler has the ability to rival Christian McCaffrey, to rival a guy like Alvin Kamara in target amounts for fantasy football. Like, this guy could be seeing an insane amount of targets in 2021 when this LA Chargers offense was kind of at its best, was when they were dumping the ball off to Austin Eckler. In the first game last season, Tyrod Taylor just was not dumping the ball off to Austin Eckler. It didn't make too much sense because Austin Eckler is the easiest person to give the ball to because he's standing like 4 feet away from you. You just dump it off, and then Austin Ekeler runs for 7,000 yards because the guy's a little shifty boy over there, Austin Ekeler, and for some reason, he just wasn't dumping the ball off, but after Tyrod got hit with the 1-2 stabberoo by his doctor, Austin Ekeler was free. Now, obviously, Austin Ekeler ended up getting hurt last year, which definitely puts a damper on his name. To be honest with you, I can see a perfect world, or not even a perfect world, I can see any world, really, where you would want to draft Austin Ekeler in the first round. I would completely understand it. I think that there is potential for Austin Ekeler to finish as a top 5 running back, so I'm very happy getting him and Aaron Jones at the 1-2 turn here. Now, with Aaron Jones, it really does depend on if Aaron Rodgers ends up playing with the Packers in 2021. If he's the quarterback, then I am full-on confident in Aaron Jones. I talked about that a lot in yesterday's video, but if Rodgers doesn't play, then I probably would have just drafted Cam Akers or something at that spot, if I'm being honest with you. Does that mean that I think that, Jordan Love's going to be terrible? No, but it's definitely a lot of unknowns there for the running back to where I'm not too sure I'd want to put a first-round draft grade on a guy that I'm so unsure about. So after we go with Austin Ekeler, Antonio Gibson comes off the board, followed by Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Cam Akers, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, and Calvin Ridley. So after the first round, some drafts, you see a wide receiver run go in the second round. In other drafts, it's the third round when you really start seeing wide receivers come off the board. But just like in every draft, the first round is just dominated, 50 Shades of Gray style, by the running back position. And then in the next round or in the third round, you start seeing a bunch of wide receivers go off the board because they're safe with this running back that they drafted in the first round. They feel very confident with that workhorse back, and maybe they snag another running back in the second round, but they realize that the running backs dwindle down. As the draft goes on, the less and less safe it gets to draft a running back. So that's why people typically snag at least one workhorse running back in the first 2 rounds because, again, they go by so fast. Now, in this draft, it seems like there's a lot of running backs available, actually, going into the third round that I would be pretty confident in having as my running back to a guy like DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chris Carson, all guys I'm relatively confident in going into the third round. But I feel like in a lot of leagues, J.K. Dobbins is going to be a second-round pick. And if I'm being completely honest with you, people will talk themselves into Miles Sanders again and somehow end up drafting him in the third round, which is a little bit crazy. After Joe Mixon came Najee Harris and J.K. Dobbins. So Gene at the 1 overall spot elects to go running back heavy, as does Justin with Christian McCaffrey, Najee Harris, and J.K. Dobbins. Justin goes Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, and Miles Sanders. So we see this real alpha stack right here, running back. And then this guy basically just got second fiddle. I don't know why he drafted Joe Mixon over Najee Harris. There's a lot of talk about Joe Mixon getting this ungodly, unearthly amount of touches in 2021, but if the offensive line continues to be so dog shit, I'm pretty worried. I mean, I think Mixon should be fine, but there's also going to be a point in the game, which is why I like Joe Burrow so much, which is in the second half of the game. If the defense is folding and playing terribly, then you know what the offense is going to have to do in the second half of the game? Joe Burrow is going to have to let that arm loose 7 zillion times in the second half of the game. And you know what Joe Mixon will be doing there? Trying to catch passes, probably, right? But not running the ball, which is what you need for your running back, so that doesn't bode too well for Joe Mixon. Again, I'm fine drafting Joe Mixon in the second round, but this year, unlike last year, I am nowhere near as confident in Joe Mixon, even though the signs are pointing good towards Joe Mixon having a somewhat solid year. After Miles Sanders came George Kittle, me Timbers, DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Allen Robinson, and Chris Carson. So we're just 3 picks away here. I would be relatively confident in going to go ahead and snag a wide receiver at this pick, especially if Terry McLaurin ends up falling my way. Now, I did just say his name, so he's probably going to go. And if I'm being completely honest with you guys, the biggest value of this draft so far has been in the third round, and that is wide receiver Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas was a former first-round pick in fantasy football. In 2019, this guy took the fantasy football world at the wide receiver position by a storm. He was getting so many targets game in and game out. He was easily the wide receiver 1 going into last season. Everyone was drafting him as the wide receiver 1, but he got hurt. He got hurt, so now he's falling down the draft this much. I don't really get it. I think maybe there will be a correction coming soon where people start to draft him more in the second round. After Michael Thomas came Terry McLaurin and David Montgomery. So we're sitting here at the third overall pick for us at pick number 36, and I'm pretty confident going with a wide receiver stack here, unless I want to draft Darren Waller, who should still be available. So we're going to let's go with Julio Jones here. I do have Robert Woods ranked ahead of him, but I do think that is relatively safe going with Julio Jones. Again, I believe very heavily in this Tennessee Titans offense. To succeed, I'll talk about Julio in a couple of seconds, but we're going to go with Darren Waller here. Now, with Darren Waller, I'm typically not a guy that wants to go ahead and attack the tight end position early on in my drafts. I'm fine just sleeping a little bit, taking a nice nap, dozing off, and then waking up in like the 8th, 9th round, and then hammering in on a tight end I feel ultra confident in, because I'm pretty happy drafting a guy like Tyler Higbee, a guy like Robert Tonyan, a guy like Irv Smith, a guy like Logan Thomas in a 12-team league a lot later in the draft. But what I've come to realize is just the amount of opportunity that Darren Waller is going to see, and the fact that this guy could rival Travis Kelce to be the tight end number 1 in fantasy football for 2021 makes me just want to draft him in the 4th round. In the 2nd, 3rd round is where you're going to see him go in a lot of leagues. So at that point, I'm not too sure I want to pull the trigger. Because then maybe I don't have 2 running backs I'm confident in. Then maybe I won't be able to build the roster that I want. But me being very confident here with Eckler, with Aaron Jones, and then I'm able to go ahead and snag Julio Jones inside of the 3rd round, and then I am able to go ahead and get Darren Waller in the 4th round. I just feel like I have the optimal team build to be able to go after a tight end at that spot, so I'm very happy having drafted Darren Waller, because again, this guy is going to be seeing so many targets that he could rival Kelce in the target category, which could eventually pass him up, where he can pass up Travis Kelce and be the tight end number 1 on the season. I understand why people are drafting Travis Kelce in the 1st round. Am I someone who's going to be doing that a lot? Probably not, but I do understand the value in having such safety at the tight end position. It goes with Darren Waller as well. I know week in, week out, if Darren Waller is healthy, I don't have to worry about the tight end position, whereas if you draft one later, you're likely going to look to draft 2 tight ends because you're not too sure about the tight end position, and then every single week, you are doing mental gymnastics trying to figure out which tight end to start. You're sitting there, you're thinking, do I start Hunter Henry? Is that his week? Is it going to be Jonnu Smith's week? Maybe I should start Irv Smith instead. Maybe I should start Mike Gesicki instead. And then you're just sitting there doing mental gymnastics. You don't need to do that if you draft Darren Waller. Now, again, with Julio Jones, I believe he is going to be very, very safe. And Julio Jones is a guy that has been a perennial, I think that's the word we want to use here, just a guy that is always a top 10, top 12 wide receiver in fantasy football. He's going in the 3rd round. I understand that he changed teams, and it takes some time to go ahead and get accustomed to the team. But I thought that last year, and that's why I faded Stephon Diggs. That's why I faded DeAndre Hopkins, and I looked like a fucking tool saying that. So this year, I'm all in on Julio Jones. I do like Robert Woods slightly more, but again, I wanted to get that real safe wide receiver there, so I went with Julio Jones. I think Robert Woods is pretty safe as well, but I have taken him at a lot of mock drafts recently, so I figured I'd want to talk about someone else. So after I went with Darren Waller, came Kareem Hunt, Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, Bobby Trees, aka Robert Woods, DJ Moore, that bitch Myles Gaskin, and Adam Thielen. So 2 quarterbacks going inside of the first 4 rounds of the draft. Real quick, if you guys have ended up enjoying this video thus far, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2021 Fantasy Football Championship, and it would really help me out a ton if you did that, because it's gonna boost my videos up the algorithm. If you hit that subscribe button, and if you also hit that like button, I would really appreciate it, and I hope that you get back what you put in. I mean, it was free, so, you know, you don't have to put much in. You just click the button, and then I talk to you every single day about fantasy football. Hopefully you have enjoyed thus far, because we're like 14 minutes in. I'm sure if you don't like me by now, you would have just clicked off anyway. So back to the quarterback thing. Quarterbacks, now another quarterback came off the board, and Kyler Murray in the 5th round. Quarterbacks go in such different ranges in every single draft. If you're drafting with newer players, typically they look to go quarterback earlier, because a quarterback is the most important player on a team in real life. But in fantasy football, unless you're playing in a 2-quarterback league, that is the opposite. You can just wait super long to draft a quarterback, whereas in real life, the people who are looking to draft quarterbacks in the real NFL draft, they're drafting them in the first 5 picks of the draft. So it's very different from real life to fantasy football, but people like to draft quarterbacks early. I understand it. Do I do it? No, but in some drafts right now, we're sitting here in the 5th round, maybe only 3 quarterbacks is pretty normal, but there might be some leagues where 8 quarterbacks have already came off the board, and then in more like expert kind of leagues, right, where you're doing with these fantasy analysts, they may not draft a quarterback at all by the 5th round now. So it does definitely differentiate a lot, and most of the differential from where quarterbacks get drafted has to come with the skill of the guy or the gal that is drafting the team. So after Kyler Murray comes TJ Hawkinson, C.D. Lamb. How about you, C.D.'s nuts? Chase Edmonds, Mike Davis, and James Robinson. That wasn't even funny. I don't know why I laughed. Lamar Jackson off the board next. So James Robinson going in the 5th round is ludicrous, like the rapper. It's just crazy. Like, ETN is there, which scares me. I think James Robinson can still be good and still be fantasy relevant, but inside of the 5th round, I don't feel very confident taking him there, especially since I feel like it is going to be such a just committee type of deal there in Jacksonville. Unless one of them gets hurt, then one of them will completely dominate. I'd rather just wait until a little bit later and draft a different running back. So we're back up on the board in 1 pick. After Tyler Lockett came off the board, came Kyle Pitts, Melvin Gordon, and Cooper Kupp. So now we're going to hop on the wide receiver train here. I really like Deontay Johnson, but it seems like I've taken him in so many drafts. I've talked about him so much that I want to go with a different wide receiver here. We're going to snag Kenny Galladay here to join the roster. And then we're going to go ahead here and look at the running back position. Am I confident in any of these guys inside of the 6th round? I am pretty confident in Damien Harris, and I'm probably going to make a video tomorrow. Happy 4th of July, everyone watching today. But tomorrow I'll probably make a video talking a lot about Damien Harris, but I'm going to talk about him a bit here as well. So first, I want to talk about Kenny Galladay. So the reason why I went with Kenny Galladay over Deontay Johnson is a lot because when you're drafting for fantasy football, if you're playing in like 3-4 different leagues, you don't want to just draft the same guy every single time. You may love Deontay Johnson. You may love Tyler Lockett. You may love one of these players going inside of the 5th round. And you're like, I want to get him on all my teams. It makes sense in your head, right? You believe so highly in them, but what you got to realize is you're playing in a bunch of different leagues, and if that guy fails, then he fails in every single league for you. So that's why you got to differentiate it up. Maybe you're super confident in him, you draft him in 3 leagues. Okay, even I understand that. But in another league, just make sure you draft someone else. Diversify the revenue, as Nick Ercolano would say, because it is something that you actually need to do. Because then your team's gonna end up looking like donkey dick if you don't end up doing that, and that player ends up failing. Last year, on like all my teams, I drafted Hayden Hurst. I didn't even listen to my own knowledge, and Hayden Hurst didn't even suck, but he wasn't as good as I thought he would be, and that really hurt my team when I should have been drafting other tight ends around that spot to hunt for more upside. So that's what I'm doing here with Kenny Galladay. Now again, I'm not super bullish on Kenny Galladay. I love Kenny Galladay as a wide receiver, but I feel as though in New York with the Giants, his upside is limited severely by the quarterback play there in New York. I think that Daniel Jones does have a lot of untapped potential, but I also realize that Daniel Jones is a fucking turnover machine. He hands his balls out like he's Johnny Sins. He's just divvying it up. He throws an interception, then he fucking runs up the field, fumbles. He can't figure it out. But if he was able to figure out, if he was able to get all of the pieces organized, then Kenny Galladay could be amazing. They paid him a fat fucking stack to be the New York Football Giants wide receiver 1, so he should be good. But again, I'm tempering my expectations because of the quarterback play. I got Damien Harris in the 6th round, mostly because I think that he is a true running back 1, whereas a guy like ETN, Leonard Fournette, Raheem Mostert, Ronald Jones are not their team's wide receiver or running back number 1. I think that Damien Harris is locked and loaded as the number 1 running back on that team. And I understand that last season, this guy had 0 receiving ability. He had 52 fucking receiving yards on a season where he played over 10 games, at least from my memory, that's how many games he played, and he did didn't get a lot of receiving yards. Why is that? Because he just wasn't getting dump-offs, but now I feel like he's going to get a much better opportunity to do that, and he has shown off his pass-catching skills at college at Alabama. So after Damien Harris came Justin Herbert the pervert, Travis Etienne, Deontay Johnson, Russell Wilson, Leonard Fournette, Dallas Goedert, Raheem Mostert, Dickey, Dak Prescott, Ronald Jones, Brandon Ayuk, and Chase Claypool to close out the 6th round. The 7th round begins with Debo Samuel, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Tucker the fucker, Noah Fant, and Jalen Hurts. Don't be that guy who drafts a kicker in the 7th round. Now, it might sound fun because Justin Tucker is super safe, and I understand it, but just wait until, like, the 10th round even, because even then, you could probably get, like, Jason Sanders or Young Ho Koo, who is similar in points. Now, I don't even do that. I wait till the last round and pick a kicker, but I'm just saying, don't take him in, like, the 7th round. If you're ambitious on a kicker, just wait until, like, the 10th round and then pull the trigger. At least get some bench players before you go ahead and draft Justin Tucker. It's just idiotic, if I'm being honest with you. After Justin Tucker came Noah Fant, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Higbee, very high on Trevor Lawrence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 quarterbacks off the board in 12 teams. I really typically stand hard. I fucking hold the door like Hodor in Game of Thrones, and I wait. And I wait, and I wait, and I wait on quarterback until I feel ready to pull the trigger, or unless there's value, right? If fucking Kyler Murray was sitting here in the 7th round, which he wouldn't be, I'm pulling the trigger. But right now, between these guys, I like Stafford, I like Tannehill, I like Burrow, I like Brady. Why would I just draft one over the other when I can just continue to wait? I do like Stafford a whole bunch, though. So looking at the board now, we already have our tight end, so we're looking running back and wide receiver at this spot. I like Zach Moss, but I think the 8th round, or the end of the 7th round, is a little ambitious. Looking at wide receivers, I like T. Higgins, I don't like Juju, I like Cortland Sutton, I like DJ Chark, I like Will Fuller, I like Robbie Anderson, I like Curtis Samuel. So we're going to go ahead here and get Cortland Sutton for the upside, because he was hurt last year. Hopefully Drew Lock is able to play good. If Drew Lock doesn't play good, then they're going to put in Teddy Roosevelt. But Cortland Sutton really broke out. It was with Joe Flacco, but I do think he could put up very solid numbers this season and is severely underdrafted based upon what we saw in 2019. And then here, we're going to go with a little bit safer of a pick and go with Titty Boy T. Higgins. Now, I understand that you can get Jamar Chase probably next round, but by the time we are drafting right now, I mean, Jamar Chase just came off the board right after him. So by the time you're drafting in August, in early September, people are going to be drafting Jamar fucking Chase ahead of T. Higgins. He'll probably be like a 5th round pick because he was really good at LSU. And guess who his quarterback is in Cincinnati? You already know, it's Joe Burrow, the quarterback that was dishing him the rock at LSU when they won the national championship. How cute, right? But now, I still believe in T. Higgins, though. I think that all 3 of those guys, Tyler, Boyd, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, can all be successful because the defense sucks ass, like I said. So the offense and Joe Burrow's going to need Tommy Johns at the end of this season. Knock on wood. Obviously, we hope that doesn't happen because of how much he's going to be fucking throwing the rock. He might have to turn lefty like Tua to throw the ball because his arm's going to be dead from throwing it so many goddamn times. Matty Ice version 2 out there. Yeah, I really do think that obviously they're going to have down games, right? One of these guys is probably going to suck every single week, but it's worth the upside because they could all go off in some games completely. I 100% believe in that. Absolutely. After Jamar Chase comes the LA defense, probably the Rams, because, all right, Yahoo, if you're watching this, anyone that works at Yahoo, I love your website. Thank you so much for letting me do these mock drafts on here, eh? But look at this. Why the fuck does it not tell me which Los Angeles this is? It does on the side here. It tells you LAR. But I'm looking at the draft board. It should tell me the LA Rams, or the Rams, not LA. I mean, I guess Washington would just say team, but it does say football team on NFL. It's a lot easier to figure out, actually, on the draft board. After the Rams defense came Ryan Tannehill, Robert Tonyan, Washington football team, and the Pittsburgh defense. After Logan Thomas came the Baltimore Ravens and Mr. Corvette, Juju Smith-Schuster, followed by the San Francisco defense. Now, in a lot of leagues, people are going to do this. They've drafted their whole starting roster. They've got their quarterbacks. They've got the running backs. They've got the wide receiver. They've got the tight ends. They start drafting kickers and defenses. Now, let me explain to you why drafting a defense here is stupid, especially drafting the first defense because, right, you like the Rams. The Rams were the best defense in the NFL last year, in your opinion. Blah, 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 blah. Teams don't typically repeat on such a high level. Again, now the Rams should be good, right? They should be good defense. They have Aaron Donald. They have fucking Jalen Ramsey. They have all these other guys, right? Very solid defense. But are they likely to be the number one defense again, to be worthy of an 8th round pick when you can just draft another running back, a wide receiver there that may start in your roster, and then later in the draft you just draft a defense that's playing an offense week 1 that's not so good, and then you just stream defenses? That is something that I'm trying to ingrain mentally into your brain. I'm trying to hit you with the 1-2 knockout power of my fists of knowledge onto draft. I'm trying to fist your brain type of deal here, talking about defenses, because you need to just wait on the defense. You just draft one playing an easy opponent week 1, and then you know what you do? Week 2, you hit them with the switcheroo and you add a new defense. I make videos every single week of the season talking about defenses to add, so please do not be the asshole who drafts a defense in the 8th round. After Juju and the San Francisco defense came Robbie Anderson, Zach Moss, Harrison Butker the fucker, Indianapolis Colts, my old bitch lame, but my young Hoku, and the New Orleans Saints defense. This is also a reason why you need to make sure you're at your draft, logged in when you're drafting online, because if you get auto-drafted by the computer, they're going to do this. They're going to draft a kicker. They're going to draft defense. This asshole, Corey, you motherfucker, drafting Matthew Stafford when you already have Trevor Lawrence. This is going to happen in leagues, and this is actually good when people do this, because this shows what a literal league will look like. This isn't some expert mumbo-jumbo where people are waiting on defense, they're waiting on kicker, like I'm advising you to do. People don't actually do that. Real, normal fantasy football players are not doing that shit. Jenny from accounting is not doing that. Joe from HR, I think I say the same names every time, so maybe we'll go with Henry from HR and Katie from fucking, I don't even know. What did I say? Katie from accounting? Like, they don't know what the hell they're doing. So that's how they're drafting. So, you know, you just got to understand that this is how real leagues look. This is no mumbo jumbo. In the expert drafts, that's nowhere near what a real fucking league looks like. That's why expert drafts are kind of just, you take things as you go. You just kind of see what these other fantasy analysts, fantasy experts are doing. Again, I don't ever call myself an expert. I'm just an asshole who talks about fantasy football on the internet. But that's what they do. They don't draft kickers or defense till later, so it's not really accurate to what actual people will do, unless you're in a higher stakes league. After Devontae Smith comes Will Fuller and Michael Carter. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. I wanted Michael Carter, but he doesn't fall to me. That's okay. The running backs in this range are down tremendous, so we're going to go with Trey Sermon here, because I'm pretty confident Trey Sermon will be the number 2 behind Raheem Mostert. Get the nice second jab at it. And the San Francisco 49ers like to run a running back by orgy, a strong running back by committee, where they just use everyone in the game. They're spit swapping them in and out. And then eventually one of them becomes the guy. But here we're going with Joey B. We're getting that connection with T. Higgins. Now, again, I don't necessarily advise you have to go ahead and do that. But that's just something I do for the fun of it, you know? Because I'm, what is that? There's like I know you guys probably don't watch TikToks, but I'm just in a silly, goofy mood. That's why I did it. So I drafted him because I actually think he has top 10 potential. Honestly, if I didn't even have T. Higgins, I wouldn't have given a fuck, because I like Joe Burrow more than Tom Brady. Joe Burrow has the potential to actually use his legs. That's one of the things that is severely underrated about Joe Burrow. For some reason, no one really talks about it, even though Joe Burrow actually has really good legs. You know, he doesn't have, like, you know, I'm not fucking looking at a picture of his legs and just cranking one off onto the table, but I'm talking about how he has some nice moves, some smooth moves for the boys back home and the girls back home to be watching on NFL on Sunday. So I'm pretty happy with getting Joe Burrow here this late in the draft in the 10th round, as I'm pretty confident that he can be a top 10 guy this season again, especially since that defense is so fucking bad. Next up after Joe Burrow, we got Jerry Jeudy, DJ Chark, James Conner, Jason Sanders, Will Fuller, Jarvis Landry, Rodrigo, you sunk my Blankenship, A.J. Dillon, and Tampa Bay Tom Brady. So these guys are just going. This guy went with the Madden cover team. He got Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady. What a move that is right there. Listen to me. If you, and I'm not trying to fucking belittle you or something, right? Like, you already probably know this, but if you draft a quarterback in like the 2nd or 3rd round, same thing goes with a tight end. If you're drafting one of these early tight ends, one of these early quarterbacks, what in your right mind is going through your head when you draft another fucking quarterback in the first like 10 rounds? Why are you doing that? It makes no sense, because you already wasted a 2nd round pick on Mahomes, right? Now, it's not a waste if Mahomes does really good, which he should. But what I'm saying is the value right there is just stupid. But then your team, you're bolstered in on Mahomes is going to stay healthy and he's going to carry my team. That's what you're thinking. So why are you drafting Tom Brady in the 10th? You're basically acknowledging that this pick was stupid, and now you look even dumber because you're drafting 2 quarterbacks. Now, Gabriel, if you are watching this, I apologize because I am absolutely going in on you right now when you did nothing to me. You know, you seem like a nice guy, Gabriel, based upon your picture where I can't even see you, but you seem like a nice guy, right? My picture is like a little fucking emoji I made when I was 8 years old when I started playing fantasy football. But with that said, it just looks so dumb. It's so stupid. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. Let me know down below if that's something you guys do, and explain to me your thought process as to why you do that, because I'd like to actually know. After Tom Brady comes Kenyon Drake, Corey Davis, Hunter Henry, Curtis Samuel, Tyler, yeah, Boyd, Brandon cooking it up in the kitchen, and Gus Bus Edwards. So Brandon Cooks in the 11th round, let me tell you what, pal, that is an excellent pick, because Brandon Cooks is literally the wide receiver 1 on the Texans. Now, being literally the wide receiver 1 on the Texans is why he goes that far back, right? Because who knows who the quarterback's going to play? Is Deshaun going to be fine? Is Deshaun not going to be able to play? Is it going to be Tyrod Taylor? Is it going to be Davis Mills? Who's it going to be? Jordan Shrug, because I don't know. But, you know, even so, even if it's Tyrod, yeah, I'm taking a literal wide receiver 1 in the NFL, like the number 1 target on that team in the 11th round is crazy. It's crazy. And the fact that Devontae Smith is still here, I think. Is he? Did he get picked already? Oh, fuck. I just spoke like a silly, like an idiot, really, right there. Because I was just acknowledging that Devontae Smith is there, and he has probably been gone for maybe an hour. Let's see here. All right, well, let's just type his name in. Someone probably has him. Devontae Smith. Yeah, someone has him. Okay, so that makes sense. I'm just blind, I guess. I can't fucking see. But someone definitely took him. And that was an excellent pick to whoever took him. I love Devontae Smith. So we're back up on the board here. We got a decent amount of wide receivers on our team, so I'm pretty happy slapping the running back position here directly in the ass and going with a 1-2 combo here at running back. First up, we're going to go with Jamal Williams, running back of the Detroit Lions. An explanation for that will come in a second. And then we are going to be looking here. I kind of think Tevin Coleman now in the 12th round is crazy. I think James White could actually be worth a 12th round pick, but I'm going to go with Nyheim Hines. I think Nyheim Hines does have a lot of value even behind Jonathan Taylor with Marlon Mack back on the team, back in the lineup. I do, though, believe that for him to really be a guy I want to throw in my roster, Jonathan Taylor would have to get hurt, right? Knock out wood, we don't root for injuries. That's just the thought process. But he also does get a lot of receptions on this team, right? He had 482 receiving yards last year, so that's pretty good. So he will be getting a lot of receptions, which is why I'm happy taking him here in the 12th round. Not necessarily someone you're happy to start, right? But if something was to happen to Jonathan Taylor, I think that he would get a humongous big boost here in the 12th round. And then we went ahead and drafted. Who else did we draft? I actually fucking forgot because I'm a silly goose. Jamal Williams, formerly of the Green Bay Packers. Now, reports, honestly, I take Jamal Williams all the time in the back of these drafts. So if you guys have been watching a lot of these mock drafts, you've probably seen me do this before, but it's because of the fact that the team is talking about, the beat reporters are coming out and they're saying that, hey, they don't think DeAndre Swift's the true number 1. They think it's a 1A, 1B scenario with Jamal Williams. And if that is the case, then Jamal Williams might be flex worthy, and you found him in the 11th round. Now, the negatives against Jamal Williams is that he's on the Lions, and the Lions stink. And when a team stinks, it's hard for the running back to succeed, which is just true on every team, unless you got like fucking Christian McCaffrey. The team sucks complete and utter ass, and Christian McCaffrey is just bending the defense over a table every week, right? But Jamal Williams isn't Christian McCaffrey. If he was, he'd be drafted in the 1st round, and DeAndre Swift wouldn't even sniff the field. So that's kind of my thoughts on that, though. But I do think that getting a running back that is going to be getting a lot of touches and potentially receptions on this team, it's still worth drafting him in the 11th round, even if his team sucks, strictly based upon the value that he will be on the field so much. So after Nyheim Hines came Antonio Brown, Matty Ice Baby again. Why are you drafting Josh Allen in the 4th round if you're going to draft another quarterback? You don't need to draft another quarterback, especially if you're confident in the quarterback you got earlier. Like, I'm confident in Burrow, so I'm not taking another fucking quarterback. Sorry for cursing again. I mean, I'm not really that sorry because that's just how I talk, but I do know that not everyone likes to hear you curse a million times, so I try not to. But yeah, What are people doing? Like, if you draft a quarterback that you think is going to be good, why are you drafting a second one? For tight end is the only position I understand doing that, because if you're just waiting super late. But I already have Darren Waller, so there's no need to draft another tight end. If Darren Waller sucks, then that 4th round pick was irrelevant. But he's not going to suck unless he gets hurt, because Derek Carr just loves throwing the ball this way. All these people drafting backup quarterbacks. After Matt Ryan came the Kansas City defense, Devontae Parker, Marvin Jones, Austin Hooper, Kirk Cousins, you like that, Tariq Cohen, Michael Gallup, Alexander Madison, Nelson Aguilar, Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, Phillip Lindsay. You drafted Kyler Murray. Now, this makes sense. This guy drafted Aaron Rodgers, so draft Baker Mayfield. I mean, I don't think Baker Mayfield has any upside, so I wouldn't be drafting him. I'd elect to look for a quarterback that I think's in a passing offense. I'm drafting Justin Fields, potentially. I'm drafting... well, actually, I wouldn't draft Justin Fields if I needed someone, because Rodgers might not play. So I'm drafting, not Trey Lance either. I'm drafting fucking Sam Darnold. I'm drafting Tua. I'm drafting Tua at that spot, frankly. I think Tua has a lot of upside. I'm drafting Fitzpatrick. Any of those guys. I mean, with Rodgers, though, we should know by the time you're actually drafting what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. Like, if Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback there, or if he's going to be hosting Jeopardy, or if he's in Denver, any of that stuff. Mike Williams in the 13th round right now is absurd. Talked about this in a video the other day. Mike Williams to play the X role in the offense in Joe Lombardi's offensive coordinator. You don't want to know who was the X? You can probably fucking read, right? You know, you're not blind here. Maybe you are. Maybe you are, but I'm not too sure how you're watching this. If you are blind, nothing against the blind people. Hopefully, you are listening to this, so I'll read it out for you. It's the Michael Thomas spot in the offense Lombardi. Does that make sense? It's the Michael Thomas spot in the offense Lombardi. Okay, in Lombardi's offense, that's what Michael Thomas played in the Saints. That's your explanation there. So that's why I like him so much. Now, he's going to get picked here, right? Because I just talked him up. I just got on my knees, fucking gave him the gawk 9,000 type deal. At the end of these videos, just so you guys know, every time the jokes just get worse and worse. That probably wasn't even funny at all. But Mike Williams here of the Los Angeles Chargers, he's been a guy that I have dubbed as a breakout for years. Has never done it, but I think this may be the year that we see Mike Williams actually do it. So we got him on our team. Now we're going with the defense and a kicker. First, we're going with our kicker, and we're going to get the boy Robbie Gould of the San Francisco 49ers. Now, you might be wondering, Nick, why did you draft Robbie Gould over these other kickers? The answer is because he was the top one on the screen. I haven't done any kicker research yet. There will be a kicker video in August, you better believe it, where I'm breaking down the kickers. But right now, not really going to be talking too much about kickers in July. I just think it's kind of useless. I mean, kickers get changed so often. Robbie Gould isn't going to get, like, fucking benched or something, right? But, like, or get kicked off the team unless he gets hurt, but a lot of kickers, they're just, like, let's be honest. Did you know Matt Prater was on the Cardinals? I didn't until I saw it in the draft a couple of weeks ago. So that's just how it works. These kickers, they get moved around. All right, so after Robbie Gould came Ryan Suckup, Jeff Wilson Jr., Kenneth Gainwell, Rob Gronkowski, Cole Kmet, Matt Prater, Hayden Hurst, Justin Fields. Justin Fields, baby. That's a great pick in the 14th round. I think Justin Fields could actually be the starter week one. But again, without knowing that, if you have Rodgers, like I was talking about in that scenario earlier, you really can't draft Fields because it's entirely possible that Andy Dalton is the quarterback there for week one. And entirely possible he's the quarterback until like week 6, until the fans start throwing Coca-Cola, like they're going to throw Coke, right? They're going to be throwing Miller Lights directly at Matt Nagy's bald-ass head, telling him to put Mr. Fields into the game. After that, we see Blake Jarwin, Anthony Firkser, Nick Folk, and the Buffalo defense. Let me know down below, guys, if you've had a great time today. I know it's a holiday, so there's not going to be as many views on this video, but that's okay. Well, obviously, you fucking watched the whole thing. You've made it until now. I was going to say, maybe you could pause it, have a nice time with your family. But I hope that you guys have a great day today. Genuinely, I love the 4th of July. It's my favorite holiday because you can just go outside, you get drunk, and you shoot off some fireworks. Now, I won't JPP myself because I will not touch the fireworks. Now, it's not that I'm afraid of the fireworks, but it's that I don't trust myself 50 beers deep at 11 at night shooting off fireworks. I think that's a stupid move. So a bunch of defenses in the 15th round, but guess what? They already have defenses. Don't draft 2 defenses. Don't do it. Just don't do it. It's crazy. Drafting 2 defenses makes way more sense than 2 kickers. I've seen people draft 2 kickers, 2 defenses. They need a fucking hole in their head, okay? Or they have a hole in their head, probably. I don't know why the hell you're drafting 2 defenses. So I'm just going to fast forward 6 picks until we're up so we can draft our defense because it seems like people are just going to keep drafting 2 defense. Let's see if this guy does it. He does it too. Fuck me, right? I'm talking about this strategy, and they're just proving how dumb it is. Would you look at that, guys? Someone drafted not a defense in the 15th round. Great pick by this guy. So now we're going with our defense. Now, again, you want to find a defense playing a shitty offense week 1. I don't remember the schedule, so we're going to go with Seattle. But again, that will change as we get into actual draft season when I'm going to be talking about those defenses. So let's recap our team real quick before we get out of here. So our starting quarterback of my fantasy team here is Joe Burrow. Our 2 starting wideouts are Julio Jones and Kenny Galladay. Our 2 starting running backs are Aaron Jones and Austin Eckler. Our tight end is Darren Waller, and our flex is Damien Harris for now. Now, I say for now because I could easily put T. Higgins in there. I could easily put Mike Williams in there. I could easily put Cortland Sutton in there in that spot. So I just kind of spoiled the bench, but it's not really a spoiler because you just watch the whole video. The bench is comprised of Cortland Sutton, T. Higgins, Trey Sermon, Jamal Williams, Nyheim Hines, and Mike Williams. Now, I say you could put them in as the flex because right now, going out the gate, I like Damien Harris, right? I talked about how much I like him, how he's going to be the running back 1 of the team, but I also would feel relatively confident throwing Sutton in there or throwing a T. Higgins in there. So that's kind of just my thought process behind that. Not locking myself into Damien Harris as my flex. My kicker is Robbie Gould. My defense is the Seattle Seahawks. Thank you guys all so much for watching this video. Again, if you guys did end up enjoying, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2021 Fantasy Football Championship. Happy 4th of July, motherfuckers. Have a great rest of your guys' day. I love you all. Make sure that you stay safe. Happy holidays. It's Sunday, baby. Gonna start off hot on Monday. There's gonna be another video. As always, try to upload every single day. Gonna continue to keep on grinding. I love you guys all. Thank you for everything. And, oh, man, if you guys want to see something funny, now, I know this is completely off topic, so just click off the video if you don't want to hear me ramble for a second. But did you guys see what Devin Bush tweeted out? He was like, see all these content creators with no more than 400 views? Nah, you bored, motherfucker. And I said, see this football player named Devin Bush with no Super Bowl ring? You lame motherfucker. I just thought that was really funny. I mean, maybe you didn't think that was funny, but it is actually hilarious seeing football players point the finger at content creators because maybe obviously fantasy football doesn't necessarily, it does kind of affect them because more people are watching football because of fantasy football. And people like myself who talk about fantasy football help boost the viewership of the NFL. Come on, Devin, do you not understand that? Betting. People watch a lot of betting content. Betting is what makes the NFL the huge corporation that they are. So remember that. Next time you tweet something stupid, Devin Bush, I'm talking to you. I know you're not watching. Maybe you are, though. Fuck you. Have a great rest of your guys' day. Thought I'd get that off my chest. I thought that was funny. Funny note at the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching again. I do love you all. Sorry that you had to hear that rant. As always, guys, stay safe. Happy holidays. Goodbye.